Today's show is sponsored by Profit Accumulator, the #1 match betting service in the UK. Match betting is different to gambling. With gambling, you bet on one side, and if that side loses, you lose. With match betting, you bet on both sides. That means no matter what the outcome, you're a winner. When you sign up to Profit Accumulator, they will walk you through the whole process of how to do match betting, and as long as you follow what they tell you, you cannot lose. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description right now for your free trial, and you can start earning some real cash. Hi, and welcome along to the All Guns Blazing podcast from my man DT in the building. We are also sponsored today by Profit Accumulator. Thanks to those guys. Don't forget, the link is in the description if you want to get involved with Profit Accumulator. And I think I know the subject that we're going to be touching on today. Just before that, we've got a matchup from Profit Accumulator, as they do their, you know. And
what is it? Mike Riley or Craig Pawson?
Leno or Martinez? Well,
what's the point in doing it when Leno can't play on Saturday?
I know Leno can't play on Saturday, but who's the better keeper?
Leno.
Both of them during this week had horrific performances. Martinez against Aston Villa was horrendous. Two of those goals were his... Huh? For Aston Villa, yeah. For Aston Villa, sorry.
Yeah.
Two of those goals.
Yeah, both of Lingard's goals he should have saved, especially the first Lingard goal. And then, you know, Leno had that moment of madness where he just misjudged the ball. I don't know whether the wet surface zipped it off it a little bit quicker than he thought, and it came on him a little bit quicker. And your natural reaction is to use your hand when the ball's going past you. And he tried to disguise it.
You use your hand when you're in goal.
Yeah, it's one of them things. At the end of the day, let's not criticize Leno because he's been absolutely immense this season. Been one of our standout players. So
I think Martinez has been immense for them as well.
Yeah, he has, but he's conceded more goals than Leno. So I think that, look, both of them, I think it's very clear that both of them are very, very good goalkeepers. You know, and I've got nothing against Emi Martinez. And, you know, I know we banter and joke about and everything else, but I've always rated Bernd Leno. I've always been like, he's my goalkeeper. And he's an Arsenal player. And I'm only going to pick one person, and that is Bernd Leno. I don't, you know, have anything against Emi Martinez. He's a brilliant goalkeeper, but I'm very happy with what we chose.
No, I am with you. I think Martinez is an outstanding goalkeeper. And we had two outstanding goalkeepers, and I would have loved to have had both of them, kept both of them. But for me, if it boils down to it, I would have went with Leno as well. He's been exceptional this season, like you said. But Martinez has been exceptional as well for Villa. So I want to find out from you guys, who do you think is the better of the two keepers? The link's in the description. Tell us who you think, and don't forget to check out Profit Accumulator. And actually, you know, the funny thing about it, right, is that I saw some people sort of saying, you see, Leno, Martinez wouldn't have done that. Well, and then the night after, Martinez has a howler as well. So it's how it goes. You know, goalkeeper's a really tough position because you know, that's Leno's like first big mistake of this season that I can remember. You know, but it's so highlighted. And that's the thing about when you're a goalkeeper, you just can't make many mistakes. But let's get to it, because I know that you're still fuming, right? I saw you even arguing with referees on Twitter. What are you about? How are you arguing with referees? How do you manage to get into an argument with a former referee?
What? Because I want answers. It's like, what do you want me to say? It's like,
oh my God, man! Only you.
For people that don't understand, right? The former referee, Mark Halsey, and Premier League referee for about 13 years or so. In 2016, he made some comments about certain things that had happened in matches and stuff like that, that he had been told what to say, basically. And there was a massive thing over it at the time. I remember Gary Neville got involved, and he even put a tweet out, which is still there now, which says, I've spoken to him, and it's correct. Everything that's being quoted is genuine. And then all of a sudden, he's changed his mind. And he was new to social media, and his words were taken out of context. And conveniently, yeah.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with our incident?
Well, because this is the thing, yeah. I wanted to understand what was actually going on, and like, what are the exact rules? Why do they get used in one way by one referee and one by another referee? And what happened was that all of these things from 2016 resurfaced, and he's tried denying it. And then somebody, not me, pulled up one of these tweets from 2016. They found it, and it went all over the internet. Straight away, what did he do? Deleted it. I know everyone. And I was like, explain to me why you've just deleted that tweet. Just explain to me. Man, block me.
Blocked by a referee.
You know what I mean? Hey, it's not my first confrontation with a referee. Do you know what I mean? So,
oh my God.
At the end of the day, right, my issue, right, is very simple, yeah? We go to the same evening, the same day, and you've got Manchester United, Southampton. There's an incident right near the end of the game. Martial falls over. The Southampton player goes like this, doesn't touch him in any way, shape, or form. Now, the referee on that occasion is Mike Dean. He goes to the monitor so that he can give his own definitive answer to this. Have I made the right call in sending him off and giving a penalty, or have I got it wrong? Whatever the decision is made from here on in is my decision. There's no grey area. Why was Craig Pawson not allowed to go to the monitor? Why did he not go to the monitor? For such a big decision that will ultimately change the game, and did change the game at such an important moment, did he not say, you know what? I was quite a way behind play. From where I was, it looks like it. But now we've got the benefit of VAR. We can have another view. We can see another angle. Let me just watch this so that I am 100% clear in my mind that this is the right decision, because it's a huge, huge decision to make.
Game changer.
Game changer. Now let me go and have a look. And the amount of people that I've spoke to that have said they cannot definitively decide whether there's been a touch of any significance to warrant the fall. Has he over-exaggerated it? Has he dived it? So what you look at is that if you can't definitively say it's a foul, it's not a foul.
But isn't it, though, you have to be sent, you have to be told to go over.
Yes.
To check it.
Yes.
So that's the thing. He can't just himself say, right, you know what, I'm going to go and check it. They have to look at it. They're the VAR people. They're the ones that have to then help out their guy on the pitch and say, you know what, we've looked at this. It's so close. Go and have a look at it. And that's the Mike. And the Mike Dean one, I've got a different spin on it. I'm going to give you this as well. But you're right. They should have sent him over to the screen for him to look, for him to be absolutely sure. Because like you said, he's behind the play. Now, the Mike Dean one, for me, I look at that one differently. He gave the penalty, which to me, I thought, sorry, Martial, you dived. Simple as that. He was already on his way down. Even Rio Ferdinand said it. He's already on his way down. He kicks the player. This is happening a lot now, where he actually touches the player. The player's backing off like that, Bednarak, and he goes down, right? Mike Dean's given the penalty. Yeah. Now, this is my take on this. Mike Dean's given the penalty. He's not gone to send the player off. He's just given the penalty. Then they say to him, go and check it. Now, to me, it weren't to check it. And obviously, we can't hear these things. And this is another thing. Other sports like rugby and American football, like, you can hear what they're saying. we can't hear. It's some secret society, right, where we can't hear what's going on. I reckon they said to him, go and check the screen because you should send Bednarak off. Then he goes and checks it, right? And then he's looking at it for ages, right? And then DT watched it again. He then, after looking at it for quite a while, you see him go, someone's talking to him. And then he goes, okay. And then he go, penalty, and then red card. I don't think he was going to send off Bednarak. I think that somebody's obviously remembered what happened in the Wolves game and is thinking to myself, yeah, we don't send Bednarak off. It's going to be even more uproar because people could be like, yeah, that's exactly the same type of thing. You haven't sent him off in this one. You haven't sent off Bednarak. But I don't think that VAR check was for the penalty. I think it was about sending him off. And that's where I start to look at it and say, these referees, they're just trying to help out each other, right? They don't want to give a decision against. I mean, how can you have another ref judging another ref? Because in the game, in our game, it's John Moss judging Craig Pawson. They obviously, that's a small band of referees that referee in the Premier League. They all know each other. How can you have another referee? That's like me and you. And then, you know, I'm like, boy, DT got that wrong, man, but I'm going to help him out here, man, because, boy, you know what I mean? It's going to look bad on him. How can that be? That person who's back there in Stockley Park, or they may as well be at Stockwood Park, the way, I mean, as you know, from Luton, right? Right? What? How can you give a proper opinion on you're going to favour your guy? Even when you notice when, in the studio, when they have, what's that other? Peter Walton, right?
Dinosaur.
If you know, forget our game. I was doing a show on it last night. I was saying, forget Arsenal for a minute. I've never seen that guy. Every time I've been watching BT Sport, I'd say 95% of times they go to him and they ask him, Peter, what did you think? He always goes with a referee on the pitch.
Did you see what he said?
He always uses this phrase, it's not clear and obvious. So even when it's clear and obvious to the whole world,
did you know?
Millions of people are watching, it's clear and obvious, and they'll be like, well, to me, yeah, you could argue that that was a foul or that, yeah, but it's not clear and obvious. So you stay with it on the pitch.
Mate,
it's ridiculous.
Did you hear what Peter Walton said about the Jesus incident against Burnley, which was a stonewall penalty? And he said, incidental contact does not warrant a penalty or a red card. I sat down and went, hold on a minute. 24 hours ago, it warranted a penalty and a red card. Do you not even remember what you said 24 hours ago? Are you actually taking?
You see, as I said, right, he's probably mates with these guys. We all know referees. It's a small band of guys, right? And you know, they'll all know each other. They all work together, train together. They go to have their training things and meetings and that up at St. George's Park together. They all know each other. They work together. You know, I mean, you'll have 4 referees in a game. You'll have the referee, the 2 assistant referees, and the 4th official. They're all friends. You see them, they warm up together. They travel to the games. Well, I'm not too sure with the COVID thing, but more or less they travel together. They're in a bubble together, right? What is John Moss, if he sees that his pal has got it wrong, is he really going to say, you know what?
Listen, John Moss is the same guy that sent off Ainsley Maitland-Niles for winning the ball against Aston Villa. Do you remember that at Emirates?
Yeah.
Please, all right? Craig Pawson is the same guy that never gave Jorginho, was it the second yellow card against Chelsea at the Emirates, and 5 minutes later he scored.
I've got one for you. Look at this. Someone tweeted this.
Ha!
The Granit Xhaka one there, straight down the back of his Achilles, nothing. Sadio Mane one, the elbow, nothing.
Who was the ref?
Pawson. And then you see the Louise one. Look at that's the two at the bottom are both
Mate,
Pawson decisions. I mean,
look at the Trent Alexander-Arnold one.
Yeah. Nothing.
Please explain to me. Please.
It's the and the thing is about it, as I was saying to you, I don't buy into this thing where people say there's a conspiracy against Arsenal. I don't buy into that.
I do.
Right? I just think the referees are rubbish. I see it in game in, game out. Poor decisions. It's not just Arsenal.
All the time.
The other day, listen, we were all laughing about it. We were all glad that Sheffield United beat Man United, but let's be real. The decisions were shocking.
Oh, they were dreadful.
You literally had the same thing happen, right? That was like, if you want to ever see the inconsistency of a referee and referees in this country, all you need to do is look at that game. You had the same incident happening, one for Man United, one for Sheffield United, and two different outcomes. Honestly.
Yeah, it's always been the same though, Robbie, and this is the issue. How many times have I sat here and said to you, VAR is not the problem. It's the people using it. At the end of the day, the biggest issue is that the guy who runs the referees and is their boss is somebody that's part of the biggest corrupt performance I've ever seen in Premier League history. That 49-game unbeaten run that was ended at Old Trafford and the refereeing performance by Mike Riley was up there with the Chelsea-Barcelona Champions League performance that year in terms of its out-and-out corruption, where they're not hiding it. It's so in your face. Man United on that day should have had a minimum 3 red cards. Ferdinand should have been sent off for the professional foul against Freddie Ljungberg. Gary Neville must have chopped down Jose Antonio Reyes 4 or 5 times before he even got a yellow card and should have had 2. Ruud van Nistelrooy nearly took out Ashley Cole's kneecap. Wayne Rooney dived to win the penalty. I'm sorry, I have a theory behind all of it, and I don't even want to go there behind half of that stuff, because as far as I'm concerned, all them years ago, and this is my opinion, yeah? So if anyone wants to quote me on this, be my guest, quote me, yeah? But I have this thing about we were run by dinosaurs back in the day, yeah? And I'm adamant that certain people within a position of power hated the fact that a foreigner was in this country dominating this league in the way we were in the 49 games unbeaten. They hated it. Do you remember the uproar when Arsenal were the first team to field a non-English starting 11?
Mm.
Do you remember the uproar over that? And how it made widespread mass news and everything? There was absolute uproar over it. Why do you think now there's all these quotas of homegrown and all this kind of stuff that's, you know, being implemented? I don't think it's like it in that way now. I think many years ago it was very prehistoric, shall we say, in certain areas within football. And I genuinely believe that there were people in positions of power back then that hated the fact that a Frenchman could come to this country and be so dominant. You know, I got nothing against Sir Alex Ferguson, but do you remember when Arsene Wenger very first came to this country and the references to him managing in Japan? He's come from over here. What does he know about this game and all this kind of stuff? Arsene Wenger came in and he ruffled feathers. Just the likes of Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, you know, some of the greatest players in Premier League history. That's my theory on it. It upset quite a few people in the wrong way.
How long's Mike Riley been in charge of those refs as well?
Too long.
You know, because again, that's what happens. You know, I mean, you get it's a bit like that guy Gordon Taylor, like in his position, like what 20 years. I mean, you know, that to me as well, right? You look at it, right, and again, I said it the other night. It's like you've got technology up here, and the refs are down here.
No.
And they're not caught up with the technology. They don't know how to use it. And as I said, going back to it, DT, I just don't understand how you got referees who all know each other out there on the pitch, and then the person who's making that judgment at Stockley Park, for me, should not be another one of their group.
Do you know what's scary?
Another
Robbie?
one of their crew. I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying, but you know what's scary is the fact that there's only 2 nations, I think it is, that employ professional referees, and England is one of them. Yet you could go to another country where a referee is a second job, for example. It's not his profession. And yet the way he can deal and manage a game is on a completely different level to what we're seeing here. These are professionals that get paid a ridiculous amount of money, and they're just so inadequate at their job. And this was my argument with you after the game. And what I was trying to say, if a player plays badly, he comes out of the team. Yeah. Playing football's his job. If he gets it wrong, does things wrong, he's brought out of the side. If a manager gets it wrong, he's ultimately sacked. When a referee gets it wrong, 9 times out of 10, they're allowed to just carry on the next weekend. It's very rare that you see a referee punished for their mistakes.
And so even when they are
they've got to be accountable. They've got to be accountable. Let me give you one example quickly. We've appealed David Luiz's red card. Do I think we'll get it overturned? No, because that will basically open up, the book to say, we got it wrong. Now, if they did, I feel that if they ever overturn a referee's decision like this, then the referee should then have to serve the punishment that the player would have served. So in this instance, 1 match ban. So if David Luiz's, decision gets overturned, or the Southampton player's decision gets overturned, then the referee in question should be banned for the equivalent of what the player would have been banned. And then maybe if referees are held accountable, they might start actually thinking with their brain before they make a decision. They might actually take their time.
In the case of Craig Pawson, is it his fault though? Or is it just the rules? Because the rules apparently say that, there was because he didn't intend to play the ball and he's caught him, he has to go off, right? So is it not the rules that are ridiculous? And the fact that it doesn't allow the referee, to actually not send him, or I think common sense has completely gone out of refereeing as well.
Massively.
Everything is like strictly by the book, and I still feel that you should have an element of common sense in games. But is that Pawson's fault? Because even with going to the screen thing, as I said, it's John Moss who should be sending him to the screen.
Because the reason why it's his fault as well, right, is because first and foremost, he should be going to the screen. He can make that decision and say to them, I would like to go and have a look for myself. Yeah. And then they can, refer him to go over and whatever it might be. But the big issue here is that anybody with a pair of eyes can watch that incident and go, there's no intent, there's no motion, there's no movement, there's nothing. The Wolves player that's running has clipped his knee. It's not even a clear clip. It's a brush, if anything. Are we running down this path now where, if you're behind someone and trying to chase after a player and their running legs clip you, it's automatically a foul now?
I heard some people saying he should have let him go. I mean, could you imagine if he let him go?
But he did let him go.
No, but I mean, like let him go as if not even run. Just let him go, and he went on and scored. Listen, every fan would have been crucifying David Luiz.
This is why I've said to you about inconsistency. We've been on a podcast before and had a massive row over David Luiz and he's sending off against Chelsea. And in that game, you turned around and said to me, he should have let him go. I said he shouldn't have let him go because he made a genuine attempt to win the ball, so he shouldn't have received the red card. He done the right thing with the whole pretense of double jeopardy. I try and win this ball, I'm only going to get a yellow, but I must try and win it and stop this shot taking place.
What you're basically saying is, and what the experts are saying is that basically he should have chopped down that William Jose and he would have stayed on the pitch. I mean, when I heard that,
make it make sense, please. Somebody, please.
And we've already had how many rule changes this season? We've had 2 already. You know, we had a rule change for the handball rule after that ridiculous one earlier on in the season with Tottenham and Kieran Dyer, right? They changed the rules after that because they realized it was ridiculous. We had a rule change because of the ridiculous. Not Kieran Dyer. What's his name? Dyer. I keep saying Kieran Dyer.
I was sitting there thinking,
play for Newcastle, isn't it? And Ipswich, Kieran Dyer.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Eric Dyer.
Eric Dyer, Danny Dyer, whatever his name is, right? Right. But we had a rule change after that. Mm-hmm. We had a rule change for that stupid one the other day where, you know, in the Villa Man City game where there's
in an offside position.
City player runs from an offside position, wins the ball back. They had changed the rules on that. Last season, our referees weren't even using the screens. They had the screens there at the side of the pitch. Every other country in Europe was using and consulting on the screens.
Yeah.
Our ones over here, no, we're not. We don't need screens, but they're still there. Honestly, I don't. And are they going to do a rule change? Because to me, a rule change needs to be done on this one now. Because this one's been made to look ridiculous as well.
Robbie, there's a reason why English officials are not invited to major international tournaments, because they're simply inadequate. They can't do the job properly, even when the technology's there. How can you bring VAR in to help the referees, and yet they look even more incompetent than they did before VAR came around? Honestly, at least you had an excuse then. You could go, well, they've only had one take. It moves fast. It's difficult being a referee. Well, hold on a minute. These were all brought in to help you, but you're not helping yourself. And one of the biggest problems is Mike Riley that's running the referees, because he's the one that's implementing these rules and doing all these different ideas. It's like, you know, we talk about Arsenal change from top to bottom. It's the same thing with referees. Referees need changing from top to bottom, from the organisation down to the referees. Because do you want me to tell you who is a really good referee? One that you don't notice. That's a good referee. If you don't notice them, then it's fine. But I feel that as football has evolved, social media, the modern game and everything else, I now believe that referees genuinely think they are the star of the show. They want to be the center of attention. Mike Dean is the prime example of that. Did you see the images of him when he was supporting Tranmere in the stands? Telling me he didn't know the cameras were on him. Oh, let me jump on a barrier and act like I'm on.
Yeah, come on, he's only. Listen, he's allowed to support his team, isn't he?
He's fake. He is fake. He is the biggest fraud.
John,
Mike Dean is fake. He knew.
No, but in that case, he's allowed to support his team, isn't he? Come on, he's allowed to
support his team. But what he was doing is a complete and over exaggeration. He knew the cameras were on him. It's me, the Mike Dean show. It's all about me. Look at the way he points for things. Look at the way he waves cards around everywhere. It's the Mike Dean show. It's all about me. And that's what referees have got like now. It's all about me. You talk about John Moss. The guy's got Mossy printed onto his boots. What are you, Ronaldo? Piss off, man. Really? Come on, man. What were they? A present at Christmas or his birthday? Man's got Mossy on his boots. I've got a theory about a lot of these referees, yeah? They're failed footballers. All right? None of them were good enough to be a footballer when they were growing up. They love the game. We all love the game. Some of us are not good enough to make it at the top level. So they think, how can I stay within the game? Let me be a referee. That's how you don't grow up as a 14, 15-year-old going, I want to be Mike Riley. I want to be Mike Dean. You don't grow up like that. You don't have pictures of Mike Dean on your wall. He ain't your inspiration or your idol. Of course he isn't. You're a failed footballer that decided to go for the next best thing. And you're a referee. And you're so pissed off with life, you take it out on everybody else. And you want to be the boss. I'm the boss. I'm in control. Cameras on me. Yellow card. Red card. Oh, let me point really funny. And Mike Dean looks like he's celebrating every time someone scores. He runs off and he's down the wing and he's all over the... piss off. Can't stand referees in this country. Dinosaurs. All of them. Dinosaurs. Awful, man.
Not one good one?
Not that I can think of. I didn't mind Clattenburg back in the day. I didn't mind him.
I never minded Clattenburg.
There seemed to be, yes, he makes mistakes, but
I never minded Clattenburg, to be honest.
There always seemed to be a sense of transparency with him.
Mind you, are you just saying that because he actually came out and said that he didn't think it was a red card and he didn't think it was a penalty either?
No, because look, there's a reason why he walked away from the Premier League. I don't suppose we'll ever know. But
because he got a massive offer for refereeing over in the Middle East.
He's a young referee in terms of like his age and stuff. So yeah, at the end of, I just think that the whole system is completely and utterly flawed, and it needs reviewing. What was the game that we had a few weeks ago? Was it it was the FA Cup game against Southampton? And the referee in that game, do you remember how awful he was in that game? Now, he was from the Championship. He referees a lot of those games. So he's obviously in a process where he's trying to impress and get up that ladder. Do you see that? Is that the officiating that we've got coming up? Please, that, mate, he'll fit right in with half of this lot because he was useless. But if that's what we've got, do you know what I mean? Do you remember Uriah Rennie? Oh my dear God! There was some awful.
Hey, he was the
first
black ref. He's the first black referee, actually.
Robbie, he was dreadful. He was dreadful. He was absolutely dreadful. I remember, right? Do you know what? And I'll go right back, and this is going to go way over some people's heads. Yeah, there used to be a referee back in the day, right, when Arsenal were at Highbury, and he was called Roger Milford.
Yeah,
and
I remember him.
He was I remember him standing, by the crowds at corners or whatever it might be. And he would sit there and start bantering with the fans and stuff and having a laugh and a joke. And it was like, yeah, referees make mistakes. We know that. But I just feel now the profile of referees has turned them into being, look at me, I'm the star of the show. When in reality, nobody wants to talk about you. If we can play Saturday's game against Villa, for example, and it's a great game of football and there's no incidents to report, that is a perfect game.
It's like when you watch like American sports. You don't know who the refs are. I mean, the basketball and the American football, you don't know who the refs are. You know what I mean? It's just you're right. The referee should be, you're just there to officiate the game. And now you've got help from VAR. And how can, what I can't understand is how can you get help from VAR and it's worse than when it was just normal? Honestly, and that's why I think that VAR should be taken away from the referees and put in the hands of some other people, maybe some ex-players on there, people with some common sense and people that are not going to look on the, and are not put in a position where they have to judge their colleagues.
Players that have played the game, Robbie. Players that, when you see, let's, for example, look at the Jamie Vardy incident where he swung his leg round into Mustafi's face. Now, on the face of it, when you look at it, you can go, that looks accidental. But how many ex-players were like, that weren't accidental? They played the game. They know all the dirty tricks. They know all the little sneaky things. Get at least one person on that panel that can look at it and go, you know what? Nah, he hasn't done nothing wrong there.
I just feel that panel should just have like some expert people who are independent from the referees. Yeah, independent from the referees who don't know the referees. They're independent from them. You know what I mean? And they make independent decisions. It's a bit like when, something happens within the police force and you've got the police judging the police. People are like, yeah, how are you going to get a fair thing when, it's police judging it? Or when you, in any other thing where, you're asking someone that's their colleague to judge the other. No, bring in that independent person to adjudicate on that, on the VAR stuff, because these guys that are doing it right now, these refs, I'm sorry, I've lost all faith in them. Yeah. It was an L anyway. Listen, it was an L. We've been going on that
one quick thing and one theory, and it's to do with the referees, and it's something that somebody tweeted me yesterday was, would you be open to the idea of maybe employing foreign referees to come and referee games over here, given the fact that now we're such a diverse league with so many cultures and nationalities and everything else? Would it not help to have a few foreign referees come over and be a part of it?
We got foreign footballers. Why can't we have foreign refs?
Foreign managers, foreign owners.
Yeah, I would. I would not be against that. But I think that VAR thing, I'd like to see that in the hands of somebody independent and not.
It can be worked so well. I saw a video.
Not under the control of Mike Riley. Sorry.
Yeah, but I saw a video clip of VAR being used in Australia. And I watched the original incident happen, and it happened so fast. You're like, oh, that was a good tackle, big meaty tackle. And then the VAR guy is in his ear, and you can hear everything on commentary. And he's saying to him, I think you need to go and have a look at this. And he's saying, what? And he's then read his number out, said what it was. And he said, just go and have a look. I think it's a high tackle. He's gone over. While he's watching the monitor, he says, right, wait for the moment. We're going to show you this angle. Then he says, don't make a decision yet. We're going to show you another angle. Do it again.
That's what they do in cricket. That's what they do in cricket. When they're playing cricket, they go, oh, I'm going to show you this angle. I'm going to show, and then even you hear the referee, the umpire in cricket, and he'll be talking to you and go, all right, you know what? Rewind it back. Let me see the other angle. No, sorry, actually, no. It's the people who are doing the VAR type thing for the cricket. I think you call it DRS, right? They're like, rewind it back. Let me see that angle. All right, let me see this part. Let me see that. All right, we've made our decision. We're going to go to the umpire now. Yeah, right. It's okay. You're all right to give him out, or no, that wasn't out.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's mad. Transparency.
Again, transparency, because you don't know what these guys are saying, and I don't trust them. I don't trust.
Exactly. If you would have had that transparency in the Arsenal game, for example, we could all sit here right now and go, right, the referee did this because John Moss told him that. The referee never done that because John Moss never told. We would know. There would be no grey area.
We need transparency, and there's loads of grey areas, and we need transparencies. But listen, it was an L. We lost the game. We lost the game. Well, we was even playing so good in that first half. We go into the game now at the weekend. No Leno, who got himself, as we said right at the start of the show, very stupidly sent off. No Leno in that goal. Not sure if Matt Ryan will be fit for that game. That means Runnison starts. That's a problem. Even though he made 2 decent saves, but when the ball got played back to him that time and he just kicked it straight out of play. And then even later on in the game, you know what? He's a bag of nerves. I feel a bit sorry for him. He's a bag of nerves.
Yeah, because he clearly is.
Even when they said to him to take the ball, which, by the way, it was a good delivery by him, right? Yeah. He's like, what do I do? But I don't think he's a bad keeper, you know. I think he's just a bag of nerves at the moment.
Massively.
A bag of nerves. And the step-up's just too big for him at the moment.
It is, massively. Huge.
I'm surprised he didn't go. Well, maybe because of the injury to Matt Ryan, he didn't go out on loan. But that's a problem. But if we play like how we played in that first half against Wolves, if we can replicate that against Villa, we've got a good chance of winning that game. I was watching Villa, and I was very impressed with how West Ham just attacked them.
Yeah.
Solid at the back, right? You know, doubled up on Jack Grealish. And then when they won the ball, they went at
it was quick.
Villa, and they caused all kinds of problems to Villa's defense, which wasn't very impressive.
No.
And I remember when we played Villa the first time, that was what upset me the most, the fact that we didn't lay a glove on their defense. But I think the Arsenal team now is a bit different, and they will have a go.
Yeah, I think they will. And the reason why the other night was so difficult to take, and it still hurts now, is because we were so good in that first 47 minutes. And the game should have been out of sight. 3-4-0, easily. Goal disallowed, smacked the woodwork, had various chances, cutbacks, near misses.
You name it.
That's what's, and then also I look at the results over the course of the week as well, and I see that Liverpool are lost, and I see that, you know, and I just sit there and I think to myself, that's 3 points gained on them and the Champions League place. People can laugh all you want, but 3 points in that Wolves game means that we would be sitting 7th right now. 7th. And at the time of recording this, Tottenham and Chelsea haven't played each other. So one or both of them's going to drop points. Liverpool dropped points, we would have been 6 points behind the Champions League place. So you wonder why it's really, really hurt in that respect. If we were dreadful, then yes, it hurts. But
yeah, you look at that incident and say it's ridiculous, but you know what? We were crap anyway. You focus, but we weren't. We were, that to me, that first half was the best first half of football I've seen from Arsenal this season, probably even last season as well. Yeah. They were excellent.
Excellent.
The pattern of play, the free flowing football, it was brilliant. Saka, Partey, I thought was immense in that game. Immense. You know,
yeah.
You know, right from the very start of the game when we're through on goal and you know we hit the post and
30 seconds.
30 seconds. It was brilliant football, and that's why you're right. That's why it hurt. And even with it took a worldie to beat us, even down to 10 men. The players showed a lot of spirit, even when down to 10 men. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah, it is. Because look at Southampton.
Yeah, exactly.
I know they had to play basically a whole game with 10 men, but they just capitulated. There was no fight, no, you know what I mean, will to keep anything together. And again, another 9-0.
I think the one thing we can do, right, is and I've seen a lot of the players say it's a freak. It's a freak game. And I think a lot of the players, right, I get the impression that they're downhearted and pissed off because of the result. But Mikel Arteta would have every right to go into those players and say, listen, your performance, just carry that through to Saturday. Forget about Tuesday night. It's all about Saturday. Let's just carry that through and we can beat Villa.
Yeah, I hope that's put fire in the belly of the players. And judging by some of the posts that I've seen online, you know, even the normal, quite passive Hector Bellerin, we know what he was implying by his picture he uploaded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I hope that's, you know, lit something within inside of them. And it's made them really like, yeah, all right. Because you don't need to be downbeat with the performance. You don't need to be dejected by the defeat. And I think the biggest thing about it is that I said to you, nobody can blame Mikel Arteta for the defeat.
No,
and even some of his most staunch, you know, haters or who want him out didn't even blame him. Because I think everybody in this one occasion...
I saw some people still blaming him.
Oh, well, you're lucky I didn't see that.
Substitutions and...
Look, at the end of the day...
I mean, the most ridiculous one I saw was somebody saying, see, this is what you get when you pick David Luiz. I'm like, hold on. He was the man of the match in the last game. So what are you doing? The man's the man of the match in the last game. And you say, right, you're dropped. And I'm like, come on, people, be real. Don't have agendas on players.
And this was not a David Luiz moment like Manchester City, for example, where he got spun, should have let him go and went all over. And if you actually watch it, it wasn't actually David Luiz's fault.
It was more Holding's fault. It was more Holding's fault.
Just watch it. Just see it with your own eyes.
Everybody, it was a team. It was a team switching off.
Because everybody believed it was half time. The ref had a whistle in his mouth and was about to blow, and for some reason he didn't. And again, it's about consistency. There's a Liverpool game a few weeks ago where the referee blows 5 seconds before he's supposed to. And then there's our game where the referee blows 5 seconds after he's supposed to.
Well, you know what? Again, that's another one, DT. And I said this again on another show the other night. Why can't we just have a bloody clock, right? Do we not have I got the technology on my phone, right? To a stopwatch. And every time there's you just have a clock in the ground. And every time there's a stoppage, it stops. And when they start again, it starts. And then we all know, not this. Why do we have to have this ambiguity where you don't know what's happening, right? Because the referee's going to argue that it's a minimum of 2 minutes. Yeah, so he could play 5 minutes over that 2 minutes and he can use that as an argument. But why not just use the clocks? They do it in basketball. They do it in rugby. They do it in all these sports. A clock that just stops so that we all know.
Yeah, we all know
it's time up.
Yeah, you said the prime example.
These guys, why does that have to be some sort of secret?
Yeah, it's the prime example. What you said was basketball. There could be 4 seconds on the clock, and the coach says time out, and that 4 seconds is stopped, and they're like, right, final play. Get the ball. If you need a 2-point or if you need a 3-pointer to win the game, he's just gonna have to launch it from where we are, or we've got a hold. But it's not.
Well, there's also another way of doing it that could even add to the excitement of the game, right? I've always thought that this is brilliant what they do in rugby, because if you see what they do in rugby, when the 90 minutes is up, so they time it specifically, and you know in rugby there's loads of stops.
Yeah.
So they'll stop it, start it, stop it. Then when time's up, right? Like it's in rugby league, like there's a big hooter that blows, and that's the end of the game. But they keep playing on until there's like either a stoppage. So in football now, it'll be you keep playing on until either the ball's kicked out of play or person's had a shot and it's gone. As soon as the ball goes out of play, then they stop it.
Yeah, the moment it's dead.
That would actually add to the excitement. So if that went on and you just, a team could just keep the ball, keep trying to score. But once the ball goes out of play, you see it in rugby, like the other team will, either the ball goes out of play or the other team will win it.
And they boot it straight out.
And he just boots it straight out and they've won the game. And it adds to the excitement of it. That would be a good shout for football. But at the moment with these, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. But anyway, Saturday, for you, you're confident going into that game?
We should be. We can't go into it disheartened, like we were saying. The result was a freak result. We've got to take it on face value. We were going into, the Wolves game, 7 games unbeaten, fully deserved. We've been playing good football. We're doing a lot better. We're stronger. We're more resilient. And I suppose the only question mark is obviously the goalkeeping situation and, who actually goes in there, whether Matt Ryan will be fit or not. If I was Matt Ryan and I've got the opportunity of making my debut for Arsenal, I'd be like, listen, give me painkilling injection, whatever it is, I'm playing. Do you know what I mean? This is a huge, huge opportunity for him. And it may be his only opportunity for the club. So, it's
team's going to be interesting. Team's going to be interesting, DT.
It's going to be interesting. What I will say is that we've actually got a week break after this game because, we're out of the FA Cup.
Out of the FA Cup, yeah.
They're being played in midweek. So if anything, it may actually have done us good because it gives us a nice little break. I think that we can go with a strong team, given the fact that we've got a break. Pepe has to start for me.
I was going to ask you that. So up front, what would be your front line? Because I guess that we all agree, same team with Gabriel coming in for David Luiz, and if Tierney's fit, he'll come in for Cedric, and then I'll put Cedric to right back.
Yeah, This the only annoying thing about Tierney being injured as well is that Cedric can't play on that right hand side.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
He's more effective.
So I would say the only one that I would kind of be toying with and maybe changing is Emil Smith-Rowe and Odegaard. Maybe that. Emil started to look really tired of late, and it's not a criticism. It's understandable. He's a young boy, and his body's got to adapt to the Premier League life because it's completely different playing every 3 days or so in the Premier League to every 3 days in the under-23s.
I'd throw it
completely different level. So
I'd throw it Odegaard.
That for me would be the only one. Saka on the right-hand side, Pepe on the left-hand side, Lacazette up front.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't start Aubameyang. Pepe's been playing brilliantly on that left-hand side. I keep him in. He's been scoring goals. He's been creating. He's on form. Don't drop him, please.
Massively.
Do not drop Pepe, right?
It's not just the way he's playing, but he's scoring goals as well.
Yeah, and he's working hard.
Working exceptionally hard.
Yeah. So I would definitely keep that. And I'd throw Odegaard in from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like you said, absolutely nothing on Smith-Rowe. I'm just thinking about the workload of games. And I looked at that like Lingard the other night. You could see that was a guy when he made his debut against Villa. He scored 2 goals, but he was chomping at the bit right from the start of the game. And I think we could have a similar effect with Odegaard coming into into that creative role. And he ain't had his chance yet. He was really unlucky the other night because of what happened. He didn't get on the pitch. Throw him in from the beginning. If it ain't working, you've got Smith-Rowe to come on.
That would have been the perfect game for Odegaard against Wolves, because I have no doubt if and I'm not being cocky or overconfident or whatever, but based on the first half performance, going 1-0 at half time, I feel that we would have come out second half and it would have been 2 or 3.
Yeah, I felt that.
And, you know, I felt that once we would have got the second goal, Wolves' heads would have completely gone. Game would have been over. 25 minutes or so, Odegaard could have had a nice little run out, really started to get himself involved. And with the amount of freedom and space we had on that pitch, it would have suited him perfectly. Thomas Partey, for me, against Villa is going to be crucial. Not just in the way he breaks play up, but the way he starts everything.
What's crucial for me? Sorry.
I'm just saying, just everything about him. It's just, there was even a moment in the first half where you can see he's being coached by Diego Simeone, because Wolves broke and he just went, white, good night. You're not going, no, I'll take one for the team here. Sorry. That was a Diego Simeone absolute, like, that is instilled in him. How many times, Robbie, have we had players where players skip past and they've gone, and you're like, take him out. What are you doing? Thomas is like,
he was brilliant. He was immense, and he's going to be very important. I think also what's going to be very important in that game, and what I saw West Ham do very, very well, they doubled, trebled up sometimes on Jack Grealish. And we're going to have to do the same thing. When he came to the Emirates, he had the freedom of the ground.
Yeah.
No, and he run the show, right? But I noticed with West Ham, they identified that, and he always had 2 players around him. Yeah. He couldn't go nowhere. He'd have to keep coming back. I mean, they nullified Grealish, and you've got to do that if you're playing against Aston Villa. He is the key.
Yeah, because the thing is with Villa, and I'm not being disrespectful for them, but obviously Grealish is their best player. And apart from him, you've got Ollie Watkins, who's a threat, always a threat. But you nullify that main supply, and they haven't got much else.
They have got something.
They have got players.
They've got some very good players. Remember,
what I mean is that you stop Jack Grealish.
He makes it tick.
Yes,
he makes it tick.
I'm not being disrespectful to Villa, because they've had a brilliant season. They've got some great players in
there. They've got good players. It's not a fluke.
He's the cog of that wheel. So you take that out, and it just doesn't function right. And that's what I'm saying. But the thing is with Arsenal is that if you nullify Pepe, for example, you know you've got Saka on the other side. Vice versa. If you nullify, one of them, then you've got Lacazette. You've got players that can score goals. I feel we've got the better individual players collectively. So where we would have to try and nullify one player to stop everything from working, Villa have to kind of occupy 3 or 4 players. Thomas Partey, Bukayo Saka, Pepe, Laka. There's more players. Do you know what I mean? But if we go into it with the wrong mindset and we approach the game in the same way that we did at the Emirates, we'll get beat by Villa.
They're a very good side.
So it's important, because we now need to get back on the horse, as they say, and get back to winning ways. Win this, then we've got a game against Leeds, which is always going to be an interesting game, because
tough game.
It's a tough game, but I think that game may suit us in the respect that Leeds are not going to play low blocks against us. They're going to just go, right, let's go. It's a face-off between, we'll attack you, you attack us, let's see what happens. So I think that may work. And then we got Man City and we got Benfica, but we don't even know what's going on with that. Is it going to be 1 leg, 2 legs in Germany?
I don't understand, all right, this how can it be 1 leg? When I heard that, I was like, no. Unless then everybody else has to be a 1 leg.
No, they're talking about everybody.
Okay, well, if everybody else is a 1 leg game, and I actually think that makes sense, because
like last year, do you remember they did it in the Champions
League?
I thought that was better.
Yeah, and it makes sense, because you can't have people traveling all over the place in this pandemic. So
I wouldn't mind. And the talk at the moment is Germany, which is where they done a lot of the stuff last year, because it doesn't just affect us. If we can't go out there because we've got a quarantine for 10 days, then they're not allowed over here because of our rules and regulations now and stuff. So it's apparently, I think if by the weekend the rules don't change, they're not going to change. Come on. So they've got to do something. it's like it's you know. It's,
I think that'd be a good suggestion. Well, DT, give me a prediction on the game before we go.
I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going 3-1. I think we're going to bounce back. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we're going to be lively on Saturday. But what do you guys think? Let us know. Thanks for Profit Accumulator for sponsoring the show. Don't forget the link is in the description. You want to earn yourself a bit of extra cash in this month of February. DT, thank you very much to you. Thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening. Remember, you can download this podcast on all your usual formats, and we will be back next week. And let's hope we can get a win against Aston Villa, and let's hope we won't be talking about the referee.